Yui, one of Japan's most legendary Anisingers. Growing up in a single-parent, poverty-driven household, misdiagnosed with lung cancer and told she only had a year to live, panic disorders, a divorce, and 4 children are just some of the struggles she has been through in life. Yui was born in Koga, Fukuoka, and had quite an unfortunate childhood. She doesn't remember ever having a father and grew up alone with her mother. Due to this, they lived in poverty and her mother often had to work late nights to even keep the family alive, leading Yui to eat cup noodles by herself as meals all the time. Despite this rocky childhood, there was one magical thing Yui got from her mother: music. She and her mother loved music, and in middle school, Yui started writing a notebook of diary-styled poems that sounded like song lyrics, and she loved it. She was particularly inspired by Avril Lavigne's debut album Let Go, as they were a similar age at the time, but Avril was doing something so much cooler. Still, life wasn't very nice to her. After entering high school, she was finally legally allowed to work, and immediately started grinding to support the family and to cover her own high school tuition, to the point where she was barely getting any sleep. Let me tell you, $5 an hour only gets you so far. This was too much for Yui, and she eventually collapsed and was hospitalized. While being examined, she received some very grim news. She had been diagnosed with lung cancer and was told by doctors that she only had 1 year left to live. This would be distraughting news to anyone, enough to break anyone, but somehow it solidified a choice in Yui. She decided that if she only had a year left, then she would just do whatever she wanted to with whatever time she had left. After being discharged from the hospital, she dropped out of high school and pursued her dream of music. That said, she had no idea where to start. The first step she took was just randomly talking to street performing bands. One called Bianconlo, who recommended her the local music school Ongakujuku Voice, where she enrolled to learn guitar and songwriting. She wrote her first original song, Why Me? I think that says something about her life, and began performing on the streets of my hometown street Tenjin, Fukuoka, while also giving school performances. She was musically talented. I mean, look at the list of instruments she can play. This was the beginning of the rise of Yui. Wait, but what about the diagnosis? The 1 year to live? Yeah, so after going back to the hospital for a checkup of her condition, they found that what she suffered from was pneumonia and not lung cancer. How they fucked this up, I have no idea. Yo, imagine the lawsuits you'd get in America. But hey, I don't think she was complaining about not having cancer at this point. On the recommendation of someone connected to her music school, she applied to the prestigious Sony Music Group, SD Audition. Sony Music Group is one of, if not Japan's largest music labels, so you can only imagine how competitive this was. Out of the 20,000 applicants, she managed to reach the final stage where the top 10 performed in front of judges, and the judges gave her a full score, 100% A+. After that, several of Sony's internal label groups were literally fighting to take her, and she finally ended up in GR8. Great. At only 17 years old, in 2005, Yui made her major debut with the single Feel My Soul, a theme song to a TV drama, which is crazy for a debut, and everything was a spike upwards from there. The next few years were single after single and hit after hit, many of her songs being TV drama, film theme songs, and yes, anime songs, including a Bleach OP and ED. Keep in mind, some of these were not small films. Some made over 1 billion yen, with Yui featured as the main theme singer, and she just kept growing. Her albums would hit #1 on the Oricon charts. She won the Newcomer/Rookie Award at the 30th Japan Academy Prize only 2 years after debut. And finally, in that very same year, she performed at the Japan Budokan, Japan's most legendary stage most musicians dream of performing on, only less than 3 years after debut. I think if you look at this list, you can see how much on the grind she was, which is why in 2008, she had to announce a hiatus to recharge her creative juices because she was presumably extremely burnt out. The break was short-lived though, and her return was legendary. A consecutive 5 #1 on Oricons in a row, including one of her biggest biggest hits and one of anime's most iconic songs. Again, it sold 110,000 CD copies in the first week. For some context, nowadays, 10,000 CD sales is considered a lot for a big seiyuu or anime series. She had fucking made it and didn't stop there. She was on the grind again, even going overseas to perform in Hong Kong, which was an incredible feat for a Japanese artist before anime in Japan in general got as popular as it did today. I don't think people nowadays, myself included, can even understand how big she was back then, especially in the anime sphere. FMAB was essentially the pillar of anime for a long time. She was everywhere. But all things have to come to an end, as in November 2012, Yui personally wrote a handwritten message announcing a hiatus, which eventually ended in the complete disbandment of the activities of Yui. The explained reason was the constant friction in the production process and the Yui persona growing larger than herself, which was uncomfortable, and hoped fans would understand. She said it got so bad to the point where she almost couldn't sing. This is just my observation, since a lot of what she said was very vague, but based on her origins, music must have been something very personal to her. I mean, it's something she chased when she had nothing left in life. So my guess would be something along the lines of her music being commercialized into money-making products under the Yui brand, and this causing friction with management, but again, just an observation. I have no evidence. Yui would not go out without a bang though, because alongside the finale of Yui came her greatest feat, an NHK Kohaku debut, Japan's yearly national New Year's Eve music program, literally watched by half the fucking nation. It was a sign that she had made it and was going out at her peak. Of course, just going out as Yui, because only several months later, she announced a band she was starting called Flower Flower, and would be performing under her new name, Yui. No, like, all lower cases, like Discord kind of shit. You get it. Flower Flower was very different from Yui. In their first year of activity, they only did one digital release, alongside one commercial and some live performances here and there. No CD release or anything. I don't even have numbers to compare their performance. They took it decently slow, possibly because she was still burned the hell out. I'm not sure if it's related, but before they did anything big, Yui announced next year that she had been officially diagnosed with a panic disorder, a mental health condition characterized by recurrent unexpected panic attacks with sudden surges of fear or anxiety. This led to the cancellation of a huge planned performance at Saitama Super Arena and more, and intended or not, would begin the downfall of Yui's career. Flower Flower continued releasing new music but did not perform live again until 2017. The reason? Yui was getting married and having kids. She officially announced in 2015 that she had married a non-celebrity man and gave birth to twins. It was supposed to be a very happy event where everyone celebrated, and it was a very understandable reason to take some time off. Pregnancy and having kids is a big deal and a big commitment. It was only in mid-2017, about 2 years later, where Flower Flower's activities would continue on a large scale, alongside a divorce announcement by Yui, citing differences in values. Yui took full custody of her twins and was now left a single working mother, a shadow of what her childhood was like. Her relationship with her ex-husband, including stuff like child custody, are unclear, as Yui has never spoken of it. Even after such a long break and years of no lives and barely any new releases, Flower Flower still managed to do several nationwide tours and performed at God knows how many music festivals, all showing the power of Yui's name brand. But only a year later, in 2018, Yui announced a remarriage to a personal trainer at a gym, and had 2 more kids, making 4 kids in total, all in Shinzo Abe's name. She kept up the music activities for a while, and she was busy all the way until COVID hit. And for the first time in 8 years, Yui appeared on the legendary channel, The First Take, and performed under her original name, Yui. This legendary piece, though, would be one of Yui's final triumphs in her career. 2020's COVID cancelled a nationwide tour and most of their IRL activities, leaving them to stream most of their concerts online. But then Flower Flower's keyboardist quit at the end of 2020. There were still a few lives after that, but after 2021, suddenly came radio silence. The circumstances behind everything are unknown, but Yui and Flower Flower essentially just kind of stopped. After one performance in 2022, I mean, look at their wiki. Twitter and Instagram activity has vanished off the earth. There was never any official announcement of them disbanding or even taking a hiatus or anything. To my knowledge, the entire band hasn't said anything about it either, and fans are just left to assume they're on some indefinite hiatus, not knowing if they will ever come back. It's been almost 5 years, and I can only assume that she's kind of done with her career and wants to dedicate her time to raising her 4 kids, but nobody knows. Some may call Yui's career a downfall. I mean, even Flower Flower only ever received a fraction of the attention Yui ever did at her prime, but I think it was by choice. Every single time, she chose to quit, and I see her story as one who has accomplished everything she has wanted to and had no more desire to go further. It's crazy to think that she only ever had the balls to go down this path because of a misdiagnosed lung cancer, and many horrible things happened along the way. But I think Yui should be proud, both of what she's done and the iconic legend she's brought to the anime community. Special thanks to Vicente Bagani and all my other patrons and members for supporting me.